Welcome to Module 3 of Steps to Success in Grant Fundraising. In this module, we will focus on planning. We will learn how to find potential funders, how to better plan for applications to different funders, and how to make decisions about what to apply for. We will start with how to find funders. In Module 2, we learned about different groups that make grants and the reasons that they do. Knowing what funding you are looking for will determine where you need to focus your search, as they can be found in different ways. There are three main ways to identify grant funds: funder finders, newsletters, and the Charity Commission Register of Charities. Firstly, funder finders. These are databases of grant funders. There are a number of free databases, including the Charity Excellence Framework, and in some areas, your CVS might have a funder finder available to local members for free. There are also paid-for subscriptions, and these can be purchased on annual or a short-term basis if you want to target your search. This includes the DSC Funds Online and Grants Online. Which of these is best for you depends on how many grants you are going to apply for and how you get on with the free ones. Funder finders are good for finding new funds as they are regularly updated. They'll provide headline information so you can collate a long list of potential funders. They do have limitations though. They are big, so getting to what you need can be a long task. And although they have headline information, you can't make a decision based on this alone. Next, funding newsletters. There are a number of newsletters available through funder finders, who often have a free newsletter, through your local CVS organisation, who will often provide funding updates, including covering statutory local grants, and community foundations who profile the funds they manage. Finally, sector bodies and organisations, like Homeless Link, will often have funding newsletters available. These are good for identifying newly launched funding programmes, particularly time-limited grant programme opportunities. They're great for narrowing down your search. They will be targeted for your locality or cause, and they can provide updates on particular funders. They do have limitations too. The content can be broad and only so much is included each publication, so you might regularly review them and not find much that's right for you. And the timing of newsletters, when they are sent and when you read them, can mean you find out about funds quite late, so keeping on top of these is important. Finally, the Charity Commission Register of Charities is useful in two ways. Firstly, for identifying funders which support charities similar to yours, and to complete research on funders to understand who they fund and how much. To look for similar charities to you, find them on the Charity Commission Register via their name or charity number. Then, download the accounts and annual returns for the last few years and look for details of income from grants and contracts. Not all accounts are set out in the same order, and some aren't searchable, so this can take some time. For grant funders, search in the same way and head to Accounts and Annual Returns. Scroll to see if there is a list of who has been awarded a grant. Larger funders will have more detailed reports available on their websites. The limitations of this are that you need to know which charities to search for first. You can use the advanced search function on the register, but this might not filter as much as would be helpful. Not all will detail where their funding has come from, and it can be time-consuming to search for this information. It also only works for charities large enough to submit their accounts. And finally, you will only find charitable grant-giving bodies this way, not statutory bodies. We will now learn how to build a pipeline of grants funds to apply for. A pipeline is the process of proactively finding funders, planning what applications you will make, and tracking your success. Creating a pipeline will help you plan your income and have more control of the process. Make more targeted approaches which will help improve your chances of success. Be able to plan your workload more effectively or understand where there is a need for additional support. And it will minimise last-minute applications. We can never eliminate them, but we can be more proactive in planning to avoid them. So how do you create a funding pipeline? To create a pipeline, there are a number of stages. First, identify your parameters. What is the funding for? This will be based on your delivery model and funding need. Then, how much do you need? And how will you make this amount? One or multiple funders? When do you need the funding by? Is it for in-year or for another year? And what sort of funders are you going to target? This will all depend on the amount you need and the fit with what you need funding for. These parameters will determine what you are looking for as a priority and will help filter funders more quickly. Once you know what, why, and how much, create a long list of funders. Start a spreadsheet, planning document, or other digital tool to record this information. The long list might include who the funder is, the type of funder, what they'll fund, the amount they'll fund, the application process, and any deadline. This is all important information to be able to filter the next level of your search. From your long list, filter those that are the closest fit for what you need, the amount, what they fund, and timescales. Work in batches to assess these funders and do more research. Have they indicated any funding priorities in their annual report, on a website, or through other communication? Do you know who they give to? Do they give to charities in your area, or which are similar to you? What is their average grant, so you can determine how much you can apply for? And what is their application process? How much will be involved? From this second filter, you will be able to prioritise. You will identify those which meet your immediate funding need, which have a higher likelihood of success and have a closer application deadline. In the next part of this module, we will review how to make decisions about which funds to apply for, which will help with developing your pipeline. Once you have made applications, it is important to track responses. This is so you can understand how successful you are being, the average time it takes to receive an outcome so you can better plan, so that you can track financially how much you are receiving, and to avoid sending further applications to the same funder when this wouldn't be appropriate. Remember, some funders will ask that you wait at least 12 months before applying again. What you track will depend on your organisation. At a minimum, we would recommend the date of the application, the amount you requested, the outcome, any amount received, the date the funding will apply to, and any reporting requirements. You will now learn how to make better decisions on applying for and accepting grants. This is important to make sure you are making the best use of resources, are able to better plan your income and manage risks more effectively. There are two scenarios when you will need to decide whether to apply: for an open fund, those that you have identified in your pipeline, and for a new time-limited grant round. Open grant fund rounds are those that can be applied for at any time. These will be the ones you've identified in your pipeline. Before applying, revisit and ask, how good a fit are we? Do you deliver work they want to fund? And will the funding enable you to do the work you want to? Don't apply if there isn't a clear fit either way. Next, will the funding come in when you need it? If it is a grant that won't be awarded for 6 months, is this the right timing for you? Some funders don't apply a time period they want the funding to be spent in. So, if it is awarded halfway through the year, the funding could fund the second half of the year. Others might want to spend over a set time period. Next, how much work is involved in applying? Many trusts and foundations accept a letter requesting support that can simply be tailored for them, or they have relatively simple applications forms. Still, even if it's easy, if there isn't a good fit, don't apply. And finally, will you gain anything else by applying? Some grant funds are complex to apply for and have multiple stages, but going through the process can be helpful for other reasons: to develop new relationships, to learn from the process, and to have the opportunity to review a service or idea. Don't let this work go to waste. New time-limited grant rounds could come from central government, lottery, local authority, or the NHS. Very often, these are to deliver a specific project or to test new ways of working or add capacity at peak times like winter. Although beyond scope of this training, this process is also helpful when thinking about applying to deliver contracts on behalf of a local authority. These funds are the ones that are most likely to cause mission drift and distraction from purpose and strategy, so questioning the fit is really important. Questions to ask. Does it support our strategy and delivery model? You can check this against your theory of change. Can we deliver this well given the budget, skills we have and capacity? Or if we don't have it, can we get it in time and in budget? If the budget won't cover the service, check if there is a clear rationale for taking this risk. Next, can we deliver this without negatively impacting on other works? Sometimes a big new project can take focus from other things that are needed in the organisation. Check the priorities. Next, do we have the relationships to deliver this? Partnerships formed solely to deliver a funded project rarely lead to genuine collaboration. Next, how much work is involved in applying? And if it is a lot of work, what impact will it have on other things that need to happen, including other planned applications? And finally, what is the gut feeling? Even after answering these questions, is there a reason that you think this is a good opportunity, even if on paper it looks risky? And of course, do you stand a chance of getting it? Sometimes the decision to apply is easy, or the risk of applying is low. But often we need to make sure we are clear on our rationale for applying, or not. Having a decision-making tool where you can rank specific elements out of 5 to decide whether you should apply can really help navigate this conversation. We have provided a template decision-making tool. You can adapt this for your charity. We recommend having clarity on who makes decisions, often called delegated authority. In some charities, significant grants, particularly those that represent a significant proportion of income, would be signed off by the board, as there is risk involved. We recommend having more than one person complete any decision-making tool if it is risky or complex. This will help inform conversation and decision. On occasion, you may decide to decline a grant. If you've done your due diligence beforehand, this should be rare, but it is important that you understand that this is a decision you can and should make. Grant funding that doesn't work for your charity will cause harm and is not acting in the best interest of the charity to accept it. Developing a donations acceptance policy will help with this process. There are a number of reasons you might decide to decline a grant. If the funding amount is less than needed or you asked and delivery isn't possible or it's too risky. If they have set timescales they want you to deliver to and you know that you can't. If there are significant reporting requirements without the funding to meet them. And if they want to be the sole funder but they won't fund the whole amount, or you've already got other funders lined up that you would have to let down. To make this decision, consider, is there a reputational risk, either with the funder or others locally? Is there room for negotiation? Always go back and talk to them. And do you want to approach the funder in the future? Will this damage that opportunity? And how important is it? Find the balance of these risks to make your decision. In this module, you have learned how to find potential funders through funding finders, grant newsletters, and the Charity Commission Register of Charities. How to better plan for applications to different funders using a pipeline, and how to make decisions about what to apply for by considering the questions to ask and processes you need in place.